Hello, US 102 CCAP classes. Welcome to week 11. I've gone pretty far now. I want to apologize. I'm a little bit behind on some of the grading, and I didn't have the Zoom office hours available last week. I've been just getting over being sick. Caught something I think that a good number of other folks have had. And in the middle of that, I live in two different states, and I'm in the middle of moving a bunch of stuff to one from the other, and so I've been a little bit just behind and challenged in that way. So forgive me. I'm gonna have some alternatives Zoom office hours this week, and then by next week I'll have my normal setup. You know, should be no problem. So I want to apologize for that. Okay, so moving forward, let's take a look at a summary of last week. We have, well, actually, let me back up before I do the summary. Yeah, I, I myself, don't know when my students, if they're going to other schools, rather it's a public school or a university, even some go to different universities, if they have spring breaks. For whatever reason, and I honestly don't know why, we don't get any holiday breaks in the online setting. So it's been like that for years. I mean, ever since I started teaching online. And so I had some students telling me that uh, you know, already made a vacation trip, didn't know that they still had work to be due. Okay. And then the other issue is I'm having a lot of you trying to look at videos and they're being blocked on your computers and your teacher can't unblock them. This should have been a resolved problem outside of her having to unblock them. It's still kind of one of the things we have to work out with the CCAP system, where you all are in high school and I'm teaching a normal college setting, and it's understandable that your schools have censorship issues or whatever, but for this class it can be quite challenging because it's not even about extreme content coming from me. I can say a word that is set up the way that it's set up. I mean, you all know why. We've gone through this before, but here we are for this time, and many of you are having a hard time getting all the work done. I'm going to try to reach out to some folks. I'm hoping to try to resolve it. I'll let you know. I'll post something on the announcement page here to kind of let you know if there's I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how we need to proceed with this. So I'll communicate with you on that. The work is still officially due, all of it, and if you can find ways to look at the videos, I want you to do that. But I am aware that shouldn't be an issue that you're struggling with. So I'll get back to you on that soon. Okay, back to the summary. We dealt a lot with JFK, very popular president, iconic president, a posterable president, right? You see some of the profile he has with his suit and tie, his pause. Also, controversial in the kind of almost edgy way, right? He was a philanderer, had an affair with Marilyn Monroe. I don't know if that was discussed in the videos we had. Was married, but clearly did, like a lot of men in many cultures have and still do, where they feel entitled to have women on the side. So some people have focused on more of his scandalous family life practices. You'll see that there's a theme. This runs through on a lot of historic characters, unfortunately. So I'm not making light of it either, and I'm just simply pointing out this is we see this kind of pop up a lot. But okay, so JFK also, made history by being the first non-Protestant president to get elected, and Catholic, in fact. And one of the things that I think I just really wanted you all to see, because a lot of you in the discussions really got that down, where it was like he was actually saying, I'm going to be an American president. He had to reassure everyone, no, I'm not going to be beholden to the Pope. I actually am an American first. and I'll be an American president as an American president first. And you probably will never see, at least anytime soon, a Catholic um, politician feel the need to argue that way. But as I've mentioned in one of my, I think my last announcement, and what I've discussed here, like what I go over in my 101 class, is that anti-Catholicism has been embedded in American history from the very beginning, and so it was significant. In fact, the Ku Klux Klan, at least used to be, that they not only hated were this pro-white group, but they actually were anti-Catholic as well. You couldn't be Catholic in the KKK. They considered it to be someone embedded in to a foreign, uh, uh, off in Italy somewhere, pulling puppet strings. So um, it's an interesting kind of way to where we have this long history, and then it just almost just kind of fades overnight for the most part. Because I really feel like most of you don't think about it. Biden was a Catholic president, and his Catholicism was just not even a real issue, whether you liked him or hated him. That just wasn't really much of a discussion, right? And now you actually have another thing happening where a lot of folks that are becoming more to the right and arguing that they're America first, and I could list a name of a lot of popular bloggers and vloggers and entities that are switching to Catholicism as a more authentic way of like identifying with Western civilization, and more of an America first even kind of thing. When I think about this, I'm always like kind of blown away, because I'm seeing this trend, and I'm not saying that this is what Catholicism's advocating. I'm simply saying there's individuals who are converting to this, and it's being promoted in a certain way, like a more separate. And part of it, honestly, has to do with a good chunk of evangelicals that are linking the end times to supporting Israel, and that's being seen as a Christianity that is more loyal to another state. Now, I know I walked into a very sticky subject matter. I'm simply trying to help us understand, how do we get to Catholicism being seen as the one that is not loyal to America first, and then switching it on evangelicals saying that you're not loyal. This is the switch. And this is also something I want you to always think about. History, no matter how long you can be in a certain pattern, the script can flip based on unexpected sets of events, in which then stereotypes or other kind of things that are viewed with one group or the other, then all of a sudden changes, right? So for Irish, the reason why Irish Catholics had such a hard time in the United States, which also we'd never think about now, even Italians, by the way, but Irish really had it bad, is because of their Catholicism. Irish Protestants, like Andrew Jackson, were militantly anti-Catholic, because the Catholic Protestant War of Ireland got brought home, and most of the Protestants here has the Confederate flag has the cross of Saint Andrew, I think. So in other words, it's the same as the Scottish flag. So there was Scots Irish, and they were mainly coming. A lot of them were coming as descendants from Scotland that then conquered Northern Ireland and fought Irish Catholics that were considered like the savages in their mind. And then from there, these Scottish that were in Ireland fighting Catholics, then used their tactics of fighting Irish Catholics in Northern Ireland on the Native Americans here. You see, so it's all embedded and rolled up into this history. We get to Kennedy. Hey, I'm going to be the first Catholic president. Everybody relax. It's going to be okay. Wow, right? Okay, so it's rooted in all of this complex U.S. Religious history that really comes from the religious wars of Europe. Okay, so then we dealt with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Cuban Missile Crisis, I can't express enough I would say the next Cuban Missile Crisis is right now. You know, the idea or the threat of nuclear war is very real at all times. In this case, I would say it's still worse because it was such a standoff, and it was okay. But the thing is to remember, and the good news is that while there were crazy war hawks from the Soviet Union to the United States that were more than willing to pull triggers and just annihilate all life because of some weird thing in their head that, like, I don't know, being an American nationalist was worth it even if like the whole planet was gone. I don't understand that. Or Russia, same thing. There's enough cool heads that were behind the scenes were like, well, we're gonna tone this down because it's not worth it to anybody, not at all. And I don't think I got to put it in this list of videos here, but there was actually a Soviet guy. And if you're interested in this, I'll send you information on him. But there was a misunderstanding in a nuclear missile submarine. And they had a system in there that the Soviets set up that the three in charge all had to agree. And if they all agreed, they pulled the trigger and send a nuclear weapon to the United States. Right there. And they were right on target. And it's because they had misinformation, a misunderstanding from what was going on. One of the Soviets' men, not American, one of a Soviet communist, he didn't feel right about this. And he said, I'm not giving my approval to send the nuclear weapon. And he was right. There was a misunderstanding. He saved all of us. Arpov, I should have had his name here for me. He should be known by everybody. And I can't even remember how to say his name right. I think it's Arpov. Anyways, the bottom line is that's how close we were. And the good news is there's still people out there, even on the other side, that are who's going to question whether we should do that or not. Okay. But it's a tricky thing, all of this and all this war, the Vietnam War. We covered that. JFK, Lyndon Johnson. Very controversial war, still challenging to this day. Still a lot of Vietnam War vets. I mentioned this in my last announcement. I'm sure many of you here have a relative that fought in that war. And it was, sorry, my allergy. A lot of personal, cultural. It's scarred a lot of our cultural, the way that people have been feeling in our society. A lot of scars from the Vietnam War era. So, and then just dealing with the counterculture movement. So here we are. This time period that we've covered is highly significant to understanding where a lot of things are at now. So I'm going to leave it right there at the moment. I hope you are enjoying your spring break the best you can. And if you have any questions, get a hold of me. We'll be in touch.